That's never going to happen in Bitcoin. And I think it behooves the Bitcoin community, of which I'm a member, to explain to politicians why proof of work is important towards driving us to a new, greener planet. I mean, basically, I did that yesterday. I was meeting with politicians, the senator and the governor in North Dakota the previous day, in Montana, explaining that the hydropower inherent in those states can be something very important, that we can bring capital to work there, build data centers for all sectors of the economy, mine Bitcoin, and do it on a sustainable basis if we get access to hydro and nuclear power. And so that's the whole idea. It's now behooves the Bitcoin community to get back out there. It used to be they never wanted to lobby or talk about this issue. You have to do it now. You have to convince lawmakers that there's a good way to mine coin that's beneficial for the community of their states or their countries. And that's the job that I've taken on because I believe in it. I think it's very important. In Norway is a good example. And, that's the whole idea. Take those politicians to the Norway facility. In this last 2 days in both Montana and in North Dakota, I brought Norway to them. I brought some of the engineers from Norway. We sat at the table, we talked about the project, and we began convincing them why it was a good thing. And I think we're doing a great job there. I apply the same rule to that portfolio that I use for managing stocks. And so we have 11 sectors in the S&P, and my rule is the same as mandated by most sovereign wealth funds. No more than 20% in any one sector, no more than 5% in any one stock. So I believe that crypto and financial services and digital services will be the 12th sector of the economy in the next decade. And so I'm managing it that way. I've put 20% of the portfolio into crypto across 32 positions. No one is bigger than 5%. But my largest holding is Bitcoin and, of course, Ethereum. I'm kind of weighting them based on market cap. But I also am a big believer in what's going on with USDC. That's a big holding for me. Also, Polygon, really like that team there with Sandeep. Bitcoin's not a coin. I've said this countless times. It's software. These are all software projects. So I'm very fortunate I can meet these teams, can talk to these engineers, determine which ones look like they have good economic ideas to create value and invest in them. And so I've got positions in all of these companies, and I think over time we'll determine which ones bring utility, which ones bring value, and they'll trade accordingly. Obviously, I'm not going to make money in all 32, but I don't need them all to work. That's the whole theory of portfolio, is to have diversification, and you're going to get your winners as they come along. And I'm big proponent of what's going on with Solana. I'm a shareholder in FTX. I'm a paid spokesperson for them too. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, this is a sector of the economy, and you've got to deploy some capital here, make your bets, look at the utility, and ride out the volatility. It's going to be volatile, but that's the nature of a nascent, emerging sector. But the old ways of mining, ignoring politicians, ignoring policymakers, ignoring government, ignoring the SEC, those days are over. Those decisions have been made. And you can see it happen because the public mining companies in the U.S. used to be a direct proxy to Bitcoin pricing, but there no longer are. Those stocks have been crushed. They've gone down way more than Bitcoin has because everybody knows carbon credits are BS, and they're going to get called out for it when the SEC forces an audit, which no accounting firm is going to sign. Well, if you find a place like northern Quebec or specifically northern Norway where they built in infrastructure decades ago with an excess capacity of hydroelectricity, the argument becomes reversed to the claims that are occurring now. By taking excess electricity that's not being used, converting it into Bitcoin, you're actually saving energy. You're doing something that's important to that country, that community, the tax base there. In addition, the Bit Zero model, the Norway model, if you want to call it that, becomes part of the community. It's providing computing power, data center services to the local university, but it goes even farther. They're taking the excess heat from the stacks and providing heat to a hydroponics facility with a canner beside it to make tomatoes. Because in northern Norway, it's an Arctic climate. It's not easy to grow tomatoes. And they're providing to the community that important source of protein and food. And so there is a way to change the dialogue on Bitcoin mining to make it more integrated into communities where it's being set up. Now, this is against the, the model of the rogue Bitcoin miner that goes in and taps into some electrical power, mines coin while it's profitable, then leaves town with their container later. That's not the model. And so when you go to local government and you propose a long 20, 30, 40, 50-year proposal for mining Bitcoin and also providing data services, that's different. Every sector of the economy now needs a data center. I don't care if you're an automotive company or financial services, you need to store data. And because of the Russia-Ukraine conflict that occurred, most sovereign countries now want their data contained on their own soil. The Canadians want that. The Georgians want that. The Brazilians want that. Everybody wants that. And that is the insatiable demand for data centers. A use case right now to get capital into building a very expensive data center is to mine Bitcoin or mine Ethereum or mine crypto or support the crypto economy. And I think that's where this conflict is going to get resolved. I've made my decision. I'm going into, my dollars are going into miners that are carbon zero, like the BitZero team in Norway, that are building facilities all around the world with the same model. But it requires nuclear power or hydro. Wind and solar are not there yet. This all started a few months ago when Larry Fink, in his note to investors, one of the world's largest money managers, brought the concern of sustainability into the model. And then, of course, in the POTUS order from the president himself, buried deep in it is a discussion about climate change. That's a direct swipe at Bitcoin mining. But the big bomb is the SEC memo contemplating carbon audits. And what that really means, and what the House Democrats are talking about here, is the entire mining industry in the U.S. has gone the route of using carbon offsets to claim carbon neutrality. So if you're a Hut 8 or you're a Marathon, a Riot, Hive, all of these entrepreneurial miners who really have come to the public markets over the last 2 years, they're all using carbon offsets. Now, everybody knows that a carbon offset is unauditable. There's no ledger to prove that if you buy a square mile of the Amazon rainforest, you can claim that you're carbon neutral. It's a nice marketing idea, but when the SEC mandates, you're not going to get a single public auditor to sign those statements, because what they're contemplating is signing quarterly statements the same way for financial statements on neutrality of carbon. And so those companies are, for a lack of a better word, screwed, because they're going to get into a fight when this becomes policy to try and prove that they are not offside on carbon. So the entire industry is moving in a new direction. They're not even waiting for this to become law. If you're looking at institutional capital today, the two sources of power for creating Bitcoin mining are going to be nuclear power and hydropower. So that favors places like Quebec, Canada, Norway, Montana, North Dakota, Tennessee Valley. And I think even as we speak, with the largest, carbon zero mining facility in the world is being built in a small village in northern Norway by a company called BitZero. And their largest shareholders are out of the United Arab Emirates. So that is institutional capital moving into this market and solving for the problem that these lawmakers are going after. Proof of work in the EU was an attempt to shut down Bitcoin mining. Thank goodness it wasn't voted in. But now you've got politicians saying we've got to find a way to stop wasting energy to mine Bitcoin. And the solution is obvious. It's nuclear power and it's excess hydropower. So I think in terms of my initiatives, I've sold all those stocks that I used to index because they were a good proxy to Bitcoin pricing, and I'm now investing in private miners like the one in Norway.